everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, July 6th meeting of the Fitchburg City Council. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that anyone in the audience who is recording this meeting to please identify themselves for the record now by standing and stating your name and address.
Okay, yeah.
Seeing none, Councillor Hughes, would you please lead us in the salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
President Zarella.
Here.
Councillor Boschman.
Present.
Councillor Kuchar.
Here.
Councillor Di Natale.
Here.
Councillor Fleming.
Here.
Councillor Green.
Here.
Councillor Hughes.
Here.
Councillor Schultz.
Here.
Councillor Squalia.
Present.
Councillor Van Hazinga.
Here.
Councillor Walsh.
Here.
Thank you. The public had been advised to contact the city clerk's office by noon today regarding any comments of no more than 2 minutes. None have been brought to our attention. Though we do have 2 registrants for specific agenda items. If either Mr. Voner or Mr. Jokala would like to speak at this time, they are welcome to do so. Otherwise, I will call on them when their petition arises. Hearing no comment, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address the council on any matter on the agenda for not more than 2 minutes? Seeing none, we will begin our agenda. We will first hear a report of the Appointments Committee. Councillor Kuchar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier this evening, the Appointments Committee took up five new appointments. One was a reappointment. The first one was for the Fitchburg Human Rights Commission, Mr. David Roth, term to expire May 1st of 2024. There was a unanimous vote. Fitchburg Disability Commission, term to expire February 1st, 2024, of Mr. Basil Tolos, unanimous vote. And 3 new appointments. One is the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority, Mr. Chris Bujold, term to expire July 1st of 2026, unanimous vote, as well as 2 trustees of the Public Library, Mr. Muna Kangzen, term to expire July 1st of 2023, another unanimous vote, as well as Dr. Dennis Pierce, term to expire July 1st of 2023, another unanimous vote.
Thank you. The matter is before the council.
The motion we accept.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the report and recommendations of the Appointments Committee. Speaking on the motion, if there is no objection, we'll take this by unanimous consent. Seeing none, it is approved. We will next hear a report from the Committee on Records. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. President. This time, all records seem to be in order. Thank you.
Make a motion we accept.
Second.
I have a motion and second. If there is no objection, we'll take this by unanimous consent. Seeing none, it is approved. We have communications from His Honor the Mayor, an appointments letter for poll workers for the period of September 1st, 2021 through August 21st, 2022, to be sworn in during training sessions. That stands referred to the Appointments Committee. We also have a communication from the Pension Reserves Investment Management Board, which, if there is no objection, we will waive the reading and place it on file in the City Clerk's office. Seeing no objection, it'll be filed. And then the City Property Committee meeting did not meet due to a lack of quorum. That will be rescheduled. A report of the Finance Committee. Councillor Di Natale.
Mr. President, in lieu of reading all of these orders, I will just state that every one of them was passed unanimously by the committee, involving several transfers and grant allowances.
Accept the report. Second.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the report and recommendations of the Finance Committee. If there is no objection, we'll take this under unanimous consent. Seeing none, it is approved. Report of the Public Safety Committee, Councilor Green.
Yes, thank you. So we met this evening. The following agenda items were discussed. 04121, Sergeant Dan Boudreau to install a stop sign on the east side of Stony Brook Road at the intersection with Village Crossing, where the divided entrance to Stony Brook meets Village Crossing. That was passed unanimously. Petition 04221, Councilor Marissa Fleming to review the no parking restrictions on Eastland Way to determine whether or not the restriction should be expanded to include no parking on both sides of a portion of Eastland Way. That was discussed and passes unanimously. Petition 12321, Councilors Marcus DiNatale and Bernard Schultz to erect no parking signage along Canton Street in front of the FHA apartments just across from the Meadowbrook Lane entrance. Cars parked on this side of the street are encroaching on a narrow road and are causing safety concerns. That was given leave to withdraw. Petition 13721, Councilor Marissa Fleming to assess the sidewalk located in front of 6 Myrtle Ave, Moran Square Diner to ensure individuals with a handicap are able to walk, use wheelchairs, walkers, and canes on a smooth surface. Currently, a private property is being used as the thoroughway. That was unanimously decided to forward on to the Public Works Subcommittee.
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the report and recommendations of the Public Safety Committee. Speaking on the motion, if there is no objection, we will take this under unanimous consent. Seeing none, it is approved. We have orders, finance.
Motion 13821 and 13921 be suspended.
Second.
I have a motion for suspension of the rules on 138 and 139-21. And motion and second. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll for a 2/3 vote?
Counselor Hughes.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Squalia.
Aye.
Counselor Van Hazinga.
Yes.
Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
President Zarella.
Yes.
Counselor Boishman.
Yes.
Counselor Kuchar.
Yes.
Counselor DiNatale.
Yes.
Counselor Fleming.
Yes.
Counselor Green.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Okay, the matter is now before the council.
Motion to approve 13821 and 13921.
Second.
I have a motion and second. On the motion, Counselor
I'd
Boishman.
like to know if the city treasurer can come up and explain 138 to me.
Well, we do have a motion on before the council, so it will be up to the movant to withdraw if desired.
I will move to withdraw.
Do I have unanimous consent for the withdrawal?
Aye.
Seeing no objection, it is withdrawn. Councillor Boishman, you may ask your question if the city treasurer is willing to respond.
Mr. Chair, I would have did my homework, but I was in Vermont and I got back late in the afternoon.
Understandable.
Okay. Listen, I'd like to know, could you explain that to me, why the 38,000, what's that for, if we vote on this special issue tonight about the school,
For the school?
for the school?
It has nothing to do with the school.
Has nothing to do with the school?
No, it was the bonds that the city issued last April. These are the costs of issuing the bonds.
Okay, if I read that right, there's one of the, I thought we already, some of them I thought we already paid for last year.
Actually, the Crocker feasibility study was part of that issue, so that piece of the school was in there, I'm sorry.
Right, and I thought we paid for that out of free cash, the 800,000 or $1 million, and we were going to get reimbursed.
Believe the city's being reimbursed 800,000 of the 1 million, but is responsible for the other 200,000. So that's the piece that the city borrowed.
All right, okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Motion to approve 138 and 13921.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve 138 and 139-21. On the motion, if there is no objection, we will take this by unanimous consent. Seeing no objection, it is approved. We have budget orders.
To suspend the rules on 14021 through 14221.
Second.
I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules on 140 through 142-21. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Hughes.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Squalia.
Aye.
Counselor Van Hazinga.
Yes.
Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
President Zarella.
Yes.
Counselor Boishman.
Yes.
Counselor Kuchar.
Yes.
Counselor DiNatale.
Yes.
Counselor Fleming.
Yes.
Counselor Green.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
All right, the matter is before the council.
Motion to accept 140-21 through 142-21.
Speaking of the motion?
I have a motion and second. Speaking on the motion, Councillor Green.
Yes, my question is about 14021. And I don't know if it's, I don't know who to address it to, but maybe just some clarification on the $6,000 is going to pay for a receptionist for the facilities personnel person?
Is this in response to, Councillor Gianatali? Go ahead.
I mean, the information in our packet was, this was a transfer because, out of assessors, the assessor approved the transfer because they have not yet filled the chief assessor's position yet, so they have some bandwidth. This is to hire a receptionist/greeter for the City Hall building under the facilities department, part-time position, 19 hours a week for this year. No benefits.
Thank you.
Councillor Brochman?
I got one thing I'd like to say on that $6,000 transfer. Maybe some of you won't like it, some of you will. My question is that I can't see taking money out when we got people on workman's comp. We can bring them in light duty, and they can do what this person's doing, be a receptionist at the desk, and greet people in. We have to pay them, so why not have them come in for 19 hours a week on workman's comp doing nothing, just writing names down? That's not
Councillor,
physical work.
unless I'm greatly mistaken, we cannot ask those employees to do things that are outside their job description simply because they have, the time to do so.
I always thought when you're self-insured and you're paying the bill that you could, but I guess I could be wrong. Thanks.
Councillor Gianatali?
I mean, since it's out there, I mean, can we get an explanation on why that we found that this was a necessary thing to do? I believe maybe the mayor can answer this.
If you are willing to withdraw the motion and no one has an objection, then we can do that.
I will withdraw my motion.
I would have to second that one.
Any objection? No objection? All right, motion is withdrawn, the matter is
Could
open.
we get an explanation on what the motivation was for this?
We initially established 2 individuals to be greeters, and it was paid for through COVID resources. That has ended as of this week, I believe. But again, as existed when we were in the old building, a greeter is a very, very effective way to deal with the public and the people's house. When they come in, it's great to have someone there that can direct them to where they should, where their services would best be met. So we want to continue that, and this was a method in being able to achieve that. So I'd like to keep that person employed for as long as I can. So we may come back to you in a few months and ask for the same thing. All right? And again, it's not a benefited position. It's part-time, and it's proven to be very effective.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does that answer your question, Councillor?
Well, I just have, the 6,000, that's going to cover us for how many months? Do we know? 15 weeks, so for about four months? Okay.
All right.
And I'm assuming that'll be in next year's budget then?
Well,
Yeah, okay. I'm getting ahead. but
we're
I'm
working
just
toward it.
Setting the stage, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Fleming?
So the greeter was the person who was sitting out at front, okay, but everything was roped off. Is everything going to continue to be roped
No,
off?
no.
So
Isn't no.
if
That was
someone
part of
walks-
part of their task was to take names.
Yeah,
We
so are
could
they going to
contact
continue
trace,
to?
things like that.
take
That's no longer
names?
necessary. It's
Okay.
opened up now.
All right, so
It's
basically
opened
just
up.
going to say,
Yeah.
hello, how are you, where do you want to
Right.
go? But if you know where you're going, you just can walk in and,
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly, right.
all right.
Okay. Councillor Kuchar?
Earlier last week, I dropped off my signatures for my reelection, and I was met with a very lovely young lady that, actually helped me. I knew where I was going. but she didn't know who I was, and I introduced myself, and she pointed me in all the right directions, and she even pushed the button for the elevator and everything. She was very, very nice to have such service at the Fitchburg City Hall, and yes, I will definitely approve this.
Thank you. Councilor Brochman?
Well, this
For the
is for the
second
mayor. This is for the mayor. Since we're in the contract negotiations, I think we ought to sit down and talk about light-duty work and help us to divert the cost, and where they still make their wages for 19 hours a week, whatever we pay, 19 hours a week, and they go to the rest on workman's comp. They help defer the cost of the city, and so we won't have to be taking and hiring people if we're going to have people on workman's comp. It's just one incentive to get people back to work.
I applaud your creativity, Counselor. However, there may be some other pitfalls in doing that. But we'll look into it.
All right, thank you.
Raise the issue. Thank you.
Councilor Kuchar?
Knowing Chapter 152 like I do, workers' comp section, you cannot just take an employee from one random department and just say, just answer the phones. You can't do that. It's against the law. So, with all due respect, Councilor Boschman, you just can't do that.
Well, I think you ought to tell GE. that they did.
Counselor?
I didn't write the law.
Tell
To
GE
approve
that.
140 through 142.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve 140 through 142-21. Speaking on the motion, Councilor Green?
Are we not including 143 in that?
That's going to be separate.
Oh, thank you.
If there is no opposition, we'll take this under unanimous consent. Seeing none, it is approved.
Vote for suspension of the rules, 143-21. Second.
I have a motion for suspension. I'd like to request that this be a motion to place it before the council and send it to the Finance Committee rather than in either or, if that's amenable to the councilor.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and second to suspend the rules such that this will come before the council tonight and then subsequently go to the Finance Committee. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Hughes?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Squalia?
Aye.
Counselor Van Hazinga?
Yes.
Counselor Walsh?
Yes.
President Zarella?
Yes.
Counselor Boschman?
Yes.
Counselor Kuchar?
Yes.
Counselor Di Natale?
Yes.
Counselor Fleming?
Yes.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. It is before the council, and I believe Mr. Jokola wished to speak on this matter.
Good evening, councilors. Before you is the loan order 14321 for $65,050,000 for the Crocker Core project. That is the project that we have been working on with MSBA, Colliers, and SOM Architects for now over 2 years. I know we have at least one of the councilors who was on a visioning session 2 years ago at Fitchburg State with Frank Locker. We have worked with the architects and the owners project managers to try to deliver a project that both meets the educational needs and is realistic in terms of the city's financing abilities. The request to have suspension of the rules is to make sure that we avoid any potential future cost increases associated with construction inflation. The council does have 120 days after the MSBA's June 23rd approval of the project for $65 million, roughly $65,050,000. So it's well within that time frame, but in this case, that old adage, time is money, and inflation is the reason why we come before you tonight requesting suspension of the rules. And at a later meeting, we will have the owner's project manager, the architects, and I believe the city auditor to talk about the financing.
Thank you. And just to clarify for the councilors, the reason that this is going in sort of a two-stage process is because we have to vote twice on loan orders anyway. So we're suspending the rules so we can get the first vote out of the way tonight. But if after the Finance Committee meeting, any councilors were to have any concerns or objections, there would be an opportunity to voice those at the second meeting. Councilor Di Natale?
Are we sending this to finance?
Yes. That was the vote.
Oh, okay, I forgot. Okay.
Councilor Brochman?
My question, I only got one question. My question is tonight, if we pass this tonight, and then it comes to us, the finance board, and the finance board says no, what happens then?
The council would have the option to accept the recommendation of the finance committee or reject it, just as always.
All right, because I wish we would have had the information on how we're going to fund this before.
That's what I was explaining, Councilor. We
I
will
heard
still
you.
have a full opportunity for debate. This is just so that we get the timeline moving along. Councilor Di
Right.
Natale?
The nuts and bolts and the meat of this discussion is going to take place next week during committee. So we'll get all of our questions and answers out there, and if the committee does not adopt a favorable recommendation, the council as a whole will then, if they wish, override the committee. It's happened before. It can happen at any time. But next week will be where we get into the real details of the finances. So,
I hope they use a little oil, too. All right, thanks.
Councilor Squalia?
Yes, Mr. Jokola, in your letter, you noted that the MSBA had increased their reimbursement rate. From our previous meeting, we discussed their reimbursement rate was effectively lower than 80%. And am I correct? It was the new reimbursement rate put us at about 67%?
Well, there are two things. One, the MSBA, as a matter of policy, adjusted their reimbursement rate for all projects effective June 1, which coincidentally allows Fitchburg to qualify for that new reimbursement rate. The reimbursement rate had not been adjusted by MSBA for a number of years. The exact number, I do not know. So that's one matter. In any core construction project, as there was conversation earlier about the feasibility study that was for $1 million, that's reimbursed to the city at 80%. All those costs are fully eligible. For core construction projects, which are either new construction or substantial renovation, Fitchburg is a 80% eligible community. MSBA has certain caps on certain parts of the construction, for example, the site development costs and certain other criteria. So the effective reimbursement rate looks like it's around 67, 66, 67, 68%, which for a core project like this is very positive in terms of trying to get a full 80% on a core project with the MSBA built-in exclusions, I would say is impossible. But it is 80% of all eligible expenses.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm excited to vote on this.
Thank you.
Move to approve 14321. Second.
I have a motion and second. This will, I believe, require a 2/3 vote. So, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Hughes.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Squalia.
Aye.
Counselor Van Hazinga.
Yes.
Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
President Zarella.
Yes.
Counselor Boishman.
Yes.
Counselor Kuchar.
Yes.
Counselor Di Natale.
yes.
Counselor Fleming.
Yes.
Counselor Green.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Thank you,
very much.
councilors.
Thank you, councilors. Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
We have a resolution to fund improvements to Low Park. Under the subject matter of this resolution, this is a matter for the Finance Committee.
Move to send to the Finance Committee.
So it will be sent to the Finance Committee unless anyone makes a motion to suspend the rules. Seeing none, it is referred to Finance. Then we have 14521, Verizon New England Incorporated, to request permission to place one 4-inch conduit on Game On Way as outlined in the enclosed petition.
Move 14521 be sent to a public hearing on July 20th, and 14621 be sent to Public Works.
Second.
I'm going to ask you to wait just one moment because Mr. Vonner is with us on this matter, and I'd like to ask if he would like to add anything before we send this to its public hearing.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, good. I don't need to add a whole lot. I would like to say thank you to you all for keeping the Zoom meetings going, because otherwise that would have ruined my family vacation in Maine. So thank you.
We are glad to not have to do that.
I don't need to add a whole lot. I'm just here to answer any questions you may have beforehand, but if you want to just push that off until the next meeting, that's fine with me.
Counselor Boschman?
I just want to make sure, usually when they put conduits in the ground, they usually add 2, so there'd be a spare one.
Counselor, is it all right if we hold that until the public hearing?
Oh, okay, all right. I just thought the guy was right there. I thought I asked.
Right, no, it would be best if we have that information given when anyone from the public who would like to comment is here to hear it.
All right, it's okay.
So thank you, Counselor Green.
I would just like to know if Mr. Vonner is a resident of that area?
Of which area?
Up by Game On in that housing development, Victoria Lane?
I am not.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr.
Would you like
President,
to weigh
I'd
in?
just like to, no one's mentioned that the fireworks were postponed to this Saturday evening at 9 o'clock off of Rollstone Hill. I don't know anyone know what the weather's going to be like on Saturday?
At the moment.
We're waiting for the hurricane to come up our way. But it's going to happen. It's happening.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. This is Verizon.
I know. I was.
No, we're not on announcements.
You know what it is? It's Council Boschman. It always confuses me. Thank you.
I'll actually call on you again for that during the announcements period, because that way everyone can hear it. No, quite all right. So that said, then, is there anyone else who has anything they need to ask Mr. Vonner tonight? In that case, thank you for being present with us, and you can get right back to your family vacation.
I appreciate that. Thank you all.
Enjoy. That said, would Councilor Gianatali like to renew his motion?
Move 14521 be sent to a public hearing on July 20th, and 14621 be sent to Public Works.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second to send 14521 to public hearing and 14621 to Public Works. If there is no objection, we'll take this by unanimous consent. Seeing none, it is
Motion we
approved.
adjourn?
I think
We do have an announcement. We do have an announcement.
I hope no one gets bored that I already said this, so forgive me, but the fireworks that were postponed from last Saturday evening will happen on this Saturday evening at 9 p.m. off of Rollstone Hill, rain or shine. So, okay.
Is the
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Mayor.
everybody. Yeah.
Motion to adjourn? Second.
I have a motion and second to adjourn. If there is no objection, we are adjourned.